duration. What is the Macaulay duration? So far, we've talked about the price risk domination area and the reinvestment risk domination, right? And what does that mean? It means that if, let's say, this is a 10-year bond and the Macaulay duration is 7 years, if your holding period, if your horizon, investment horizon is less than 7 years, then you're facing price risk domination. Which means if the interest rate goes up, your bond price is going to fall so much that it's going to offset the benefit you will have of the higher interest rate in terms of the reinvestment income of the coupons. However, if your horizon period is more than 7 years, right, you're in this part of the life of the bond, then a higher interest rate is going to benefit you so much through the reinvestment income increase in your coupons that it will offset the fall in the price of the bond. And anyways, the bond will be falling lesser and lesser as you get close to maturity. So the further away you are from the maturity, the bond price is really sensitive. It's more sensitive. And even though you are gaining on the reinvestment income because you've got these coupons coming in during the life of the bond, but you will only benefit from those coupons if you have a long duration that you're holding them and getting them for. So once you get into this part of the bond's life, then we can say, yes, the reinvestment risk has dominated. And why is this so important? It's so important because as an investor, if you think interest rates are going to go up, then you should have a horizon of greater than your Macaulay duration, so that when the interest rates goes up, you benefit from the higher reinvestment income. However, if you think interest rates are going to go down, well, then in that case, you can have a short-term holding period plan, right? So that interest rates go down, the price goes up, you sell it, and you make a gain. So that's the importance of Macaulay duration, number one. Number two, in the next learning module, we will use Macaulay duration to calculate lots of other important measures, such as the modified duration, right? And then using the modified duration, we will calculate something called the money duration. And also using that, we will calculate something called the price value of a basis point. But all of that we will discuss in the next learning module. Why I am emphasizing on this is because the calculation of Macaulay duration is very, very lengthy. And I'll come back to the slide. Let me just show you the formula. And the formula is also very complicated. But what I want to emphasize on is that the probability of being tested on the calculation of Macaulay duration itself is very, very low. The chances are that you will be given the Macaulay duration, and based on the MACD, we will have to calculate the mod D, which is the modified duration, which we will learn about in the next learning module, and the money duration, right? And the price value of a basis point. So that is what we need to focus on, that how do you use the MACD? And therefore, what I want you to do is not get too worried about this calculation of the MACD right now, neither this table nor the formula on the next slide, because what you really need to understand is what the Macaulay duration is and how is it used. So let's get into what the Macaulay duration is. See, Macaulay duration is a weighted average of the time that it takes for us to get our money back. Now, what does that mean? First of all, you buy this bond for a certain price, right? And then you get certain coupons and you get your face value back. So this is all the money that you're getting back. These are all the cash flows. And if I take the present value of those cash flows, so that's what this column over here shows, the discounted value, depending on when they are coming, right? When they are coming. And then what I do is, as a percentage of this total amount that I'm going to receive, this is my present value, I calculate the weights of each of these cash flows, right? So clearly I'm getting 8% of my money, approximately 8.4. In the first year, 7.6% of my money I'm getting. In the second year, 6.9, 6.2, 5.7, 5.1, and so on. And then majority of my money is coming in the 10th year. 46% of my money is coming in the 10th year, or 47%. Now what I do is, that means nothing to me, because I need to know in number of years, that when am I getting my money back, right? So what I do is I give a weight to each of these percentages. And how much of a weight do I give? I give the first one 1 because it's the first year. I give the second one a weight of 2 because it's 2 years, and then so on and so forth, all the way to the last one where I give it a weight of 10. Now when I calculate my weighted average, so this tells me that it's going to take 7 years for me to get my money back. And even though in reality I'm getting all the cash flows back in 10, but after 7 years, what happens is that I'm in the green, right? Anything that I get after that is going to be more for me than I put in. So that price risk is now going to be dominated by the reinvestment risk. And that is what is calculated by this formula. But again, I don't want you to worry about what the Macaulay duration is or how it's calculated. We just need to know that it is the weighted average number of years that it takes for us to get our present value back. And what's most important is that how is it used to calculate the mod D, the money duration, and the price value of a basis point, which we will look at in the next learning module. Right. So here's the summary of this learning module. We talked about the sources of return for a bond investor, where we said that, hey, it's not just your yield to maturity, which is a mixed return that you're calculating. We want to break it up and we want to understand the different moving parts, right? So obviously your coupon payments and your principal payments is a large part of the return, but the coupon that you are getting, you can reinvest that coupon, right? So interest on interest, or the reinvestment income, is another source of return, right? And then there could be a capital gain or a loss if the interest rate goes up or down and you are selling before maturity. So that is what we understood, the reinvestment income and the price risk. Now, what happens if your interest rate goes up? What happens to the reinvestment income? It is directly proportional to the interest rate movement. So if interest rate goes up, reinvestment income goes up. However, your bond price is inversely proportional. So if interest rate goes up, bond price comes down, right? And if you have a long-term horizon, well, then you're more focused on the coupon reinvestment. Whereas if you have a short horizon, you are going to be worried about that price risk. So how much of a time horizon should you have? It depends on what is the Macaulay duration of that instrument. And if your investment horizon is less than the Macaulay duration, then what you will have is a positive duration gap, which is not a good thing. It is a bad thing because price risk is dominating. And if the interest rates go down, well, that's okay. But if the interest rates go up, right, then you will have a problem, because if your investment horizon is less than the Macaulay duration, price risk is going to dominate. And that means if the interest rates will rise, you will be in trouble, because the price will fall more than the gain in your reinvestment income. However, if the Macaulay duration is less and the investment horizon is more, then you're good, because the reinvestment risk is going to dominate. And if the interest rates rise, you're happy. However, if they fall, that's not going to be very good, because then you will lose out on the reinvestment income on your coupons, right? So it really matters on what do you think the interest rate is going to do. But if you don't know, and of course nobody really knows what will happen, right? So a safer strategy is to have a negative duration gap. So if you're a pension fund or somebody who would like to really take less risk, then buy the bond for maturity, or at least your investment horizon should be greater than the Macaulay duration, so that you have a negative duration gap and you don't face price risk. Worst case scenario, you lose out on the reinvestment of your coupons if interest rates go down, right? But at least if interest rates go up, you don't lose out on that price. So that is definitely a safer option. And finally, we talked about the Macaulay duration, and this small line is pretty much all you need to know, is that the Macaulay duration is the weighted average time to receive the coupon and the principal payments. That is it, right? What is more important, which will be discussed in the next learning module, is how do you use the MACD to calculate the mod D and the money duration and your price value of a basis points. So we will discuss that in the next learning module, and I hope to see you there.